Remember, I was just on a plane. I was just on an airplane the other day, and a woman was a flight attendant came up to me, and she said they were talking about what time the flight landed. One attendant said it lands at 2:36. The other one said it lands at 2:56. So I said, well, it's somewhere after 2 and before 3, and it's no big deal. The stewardess who said 2:56, it turns out, was incorrect. It was 2:36. She came back, and she had to explain to me over and over, like 6 times, why she had thought it was 2:56 because she had read a schedule, and yesterday they changed this and all of this. And she said, I have this whole thing with not wanting to be wrong. It's really difficult for me to be wrong at anything, and I just had to show you that. And I said, why don't you just suspend that? Why don't you just not make that important in your life? It doesn't really matter. And it didn't matter. It didn't make any difference to anybody but her. She said, this is something I've done all my life, and it's ruined all of my relationships. Having to be right. Going out of your way to prove that somebody else is wrong. In a loving relationship, you can recognize that somebody has said something that doesn't fit with the way that you see it, and bite your tongue and say, it just doesn't make any difference. It's okay. I don't have to pursue it any further. And you've created love where hostility was going to reign, because the minute that you go in there and decide to make somebody wrong, then they've got to defend themselves, and now you've got this contentiousness going on back and forth between you, and it's just all unnecessary. It's not like there's someone in the sky keeping these Akashic records of everything that you said that was right and wrong, and then someday you're going to have to go before Judgment Day and count up all of these things, like in defending your life. You're going to have to defend every moment of your life, and all the number of rights gets you into heaven if you have too many wrongs. It isn't like that. Suspend the need to make somebody else wrong, and you're getting a quality of a purpose in your relationship. The other qualities, very briefly, in your relationships are allowing space, not crowding someone, allowing someone to be different than you are, instead of telling other people that what they have to be, instead of dominating and controlling, and all of these kinds of qualities that are characteristic of non-spiritual beings. Understanding that each person has their own purpose here on this planet. And being with you is part of that purpose, but it doesn't mean that it has to be seen the way you see it all the time. And the more you can give yourself that space and give others that space. I know in my relationship with my wife and our children, it is now time for me to give my wife some of the space that she's been giving me all of these years. She goes away now for periods of time, that for a week at a time sometimes, in pursuit of a book that she is writing on childbirth and a positive approach to making this whole pregnancy scene something that is wonderful and powerful and empowering rather than fearful. And she's an expert at it, and an amazing woman when it comes to all of those things. And she's now traveling around the country and writing about it. And she also needs time, a couple of times a week, to just sit and to write and so on. Now, this is stuff I've been doing forever, but I just always assumed that I was supposed to. I mean, this is what I did. And when I needed to take a couple of weeks to go and write, I just said, well, I'm going now. And I didn't ever really think too much about that. I just kind of did it. Now, when she goes away, even for 2 days, I find myself like, well,